Your loans will be completely forgiven, regardless of your income and even if you did not graduate. So I'm going to repeat that. If you've paid undergraduate loans for more than 20 years or graduate loans for more than 25 years, those loans will be completely forgiven regardless of your income and even if you did not graduate. And forgiveness will be automatic for the vast majority of the 25 million people that we believe will benefit from this approach. Your loans will be...
Somebody said, my body, my choice. How about your student loan your debt? Wait. Crying for the millionth time about how much easier my life would be if I were white. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm living right now in woke Spain. Trust me. Life is so easy as a black man. It's so easy, it's condescending. But hey, to each their own.
New figures show a sharp rise in crime in Germany. Last year, police processed nearly 6 million offenses. That's 5% up on the previous year. Violent crimes reached a 15-year high. Nearly half of all criminal suspects do not hold a German passport, reigniting calls for tougher immigration control.
And somebody said something interesting. Wait, Germany didn't downgrade all their aggravated assaults to simple assaults in order to hide the shocking rise in violence like the United States has done under the Biden administration? Weird.
Can you name any rights men have today that women don't?
Any rights that men have that women do not? Any rights that men have that women do not? No.
So then what laws are feminists fighting for?
Shit, that's a good one.
I know exactly which right men have that women don't. Well, men will be forced to go to war if they don't want to, if there is a war. And I also know which rights men don't have that women do have.
Oh.
Number 1. A lady can go to the bank and ask for money for a new business very easily, and usually men get denied. If a man and a woman apply for the same job and they got the same score, they will always choose the woman. And if the man has a higher score than the woman, it depends if there's enough women at that job. If ever you get assaulted as a man, either you deserve it or you have to prove it.
That's not how she can do it in our family.
Do you know what the leading cause of death for pregnant people is?
Pregnant people?
Mm-hmm.
Mothers? Women?
If you'd like to call them mothers, not all of them are mothers, but if you'd like to call them that.
What are they if they're not mothers?
They're pregnant people.
What people other than mothers are pregnant?
It's interesting because you come into this conversation, trying to hold this moral superiority. But when I use inclusive language, which it only takes a couple extra syllables to use inclusive language.
To include
and
who?
It seems to include people who don't identify as women but can become pregnant.
So you're telling me that in order to be a moral person, I need to accept the idea that a man can really become a woman. That's a prerequisite of my being a moral person.
I mean, yes.
I would like to identify, I do identify actually, as the correct person on this issue. And I would just ask that you accept and affirm my identity.
That's not your identity.
That is my, I promise you, that's my identity.
I find it rather interesting that she's saying that he's coming with moral superiority, but what she is doing is exactly the same thing. Like she thinks that's bad, but she's copying the bad to throw it back to the other person. I'm like, maybe we both are right. Maybe we both should be able to believe what we want to believe. But one is just saying, you shut up.
How much more women empowerment can we have at this point? Like, I've been trying to bring this up this entire podcast. I don't know where we're going to draw the line where women take more accountability. It seems like non-traditional women want traditional men. Women want men to provide, be financially stable, lead the family, be financially fit or be physically fit, also be emotionally in tune enough to not only manage their own emotions, but their women's emotions, be able to guide everything. Like, I don't know how much more we can ask from them without taking accountability.
I think all those things are very basic things.
I do too.
Those are very basic things. Yeah, no, you can't be a non-traditional woman and get a traditional man. This is exactly what is happening to my feminist wife. She started realizing the choices that our kids are going to have in the future, it's going to be horrible. Traditional man and traditional woman build together even through battles, and a lot of people don't want battles. They want an easy TikTok life. Because every time I tell people what I had to do to keep this family together, they consider it slavery.
You'll learn one day when you grow up.
The repercussions for Hamas for starting a war against Israel.
The repercussions for an illegal occupation.
What's the illegal occupation?
Of Israel
against the Palestinians.
Where?
That is an illegal occupation. It is a determined illegal occupation.
Gaza?
Of course, Gaza and the West Bank.
Have you been to Gaza?
Yes, I have.
Is it occupied by the Israelis?
It's completely sealed off, as you know. That's
By
why
who?
they call it by the Israelis.
And who?
By the Israelis, by the US, and whoever else
And who
supports
else?
the Israelis. Isn't that enough?
No, tell me who else is allegedly sealing the Gaza.
I'm saying that Israel
What?
has completely encircled Gaza. Nothing goes in, nothing goes out,
Gaza
as
has.
you know.
Well, as you know, if you've been, Gaza also has a border with Egypt. Why do you not mention Egypt? Our views might differ, but the facts are the facts.
That's the issue. They keep secret because a lot of people only read the surface. They don't want to understand the whole thing.
The interesting thing about the red pill community is they're the only community that allows men to suffer. So if a man today says, I am struggling, the most common thing that they hear in return is that you are privileged, you should not be struggling. So the interesting thing is that the red pill community is the only community that says, if you're struggling, yeah, you are struggling because you suck. They're the only ones that say, yes, your life is hard. Here is a way to make it better. And so I think one of the biggest problems that we see with men right now is that they have nowhere else to go, where someone at least accepts the premise that your life is hard. Now, I think there's a lot of toxicity that comes out of the red pill community because I've worked with a lot of incels and red pillars and things like that. And I think that it's almost textbook like avoidant attachment kind of theory sort of stuff. And literally every single one that I've worked with has had some kind of incredibly traumatic experience with a woman that they then generalize to women as a whole, which I think is a big mistake.
I keep telling people they have nowhere to go, and whenever they want to let out a little steam, they can. Because whenever they steam out, everybody thinks they're attacking them. But ladies have a bunch of outlets, and it sucks. No wonder they keep all that energy inside, and you tell them, well, I want to see your emotion. Why don't you talk to me? And when they talk, oh my god, it's kind of scary. Shut up.
Do Republicans have a good answer to address the border crisis other than busing migrants to liberal cities?
We had an agreement with Mexico that was called the Remain in Mexico Agreement, which says that if someone crossed into Mexico illegally from typically Central or South America, they would remain in Mexico while their asylum case was proceeding in the U.S., and the numbers plummeted. We had the lowest rate, as I said, in 45 years, and then Biden came in and ripped that international agreement to shreds, and that's what produced now 8.4 million illegal aliens since Biden's been president.
Boy, I walked right into that one, didn't I?
I became American last year. So
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And then Asco Intelligence was saying, now, you're their responsibility. I'm sure FBI gonna protect you.
Sure.
So when they reached out to me to come give a speech, I was excited. I was like, finally they're gonna protect me. And then 2 days before my speech, the head of diversity calls me.
The head of diversity?
Yeah.
At the FBI?
Yeah. And then
Great.
she says, like, we have to cancel your speech.
Yeah.
And why?
You're not diverse enough?
And then she's like, yeah, because of your political opinions. And this is funny. And in my American interview, citizenship interview, my interviewer asking me this exact question. Have you ever persecuted anybody for their political opinion? You know, if you said yes, you cannot become American.
But you can become FBI.
Exactly. These people should be stripped their American citizen right now. Officer Vasquez, control your lady friend. This bridge is no place for a woman.
Ladies and gentlemen, this lady had to travel from North Korea to China, swim, oh my god, they almost shot her, escaped with her more, they did things to her, she had to travel through mountains, very cold, almost freeze her body to death. I'm like, you can't survive so much, understand the world in the worst way, and you have suddenly different opinion about certain dictatorship and communism or whatever, and suddenly you can speak about it and FBI is like, no, you're not diverse enough. You are the dictator. I'm like, what?
I demand you are in a position to demand nothing, kitchen wench Suzuka.
Now at 5 video, the parents of a young boy want you to see in hopes that it'll force change. Their son gets beaten on a school bus. Now an aide on that bus, Kiara Jones, faces assault charges. This family feels the Littleton School District didn't do enough when they first started noticing injuries on their son.
Parents want to know if that doesn't make you angry, what will? You have fractured bones, a knocked out tooth, deep bruises, and immeasurable heartache. Those are just some of the injuries to at least 3 students alleged allegedly at the hands of a woman trusted to care for them. The kids take a special bus provided by the Littleton school system to get to one of Colorado's most highly regarded private schools for students with autism.
My sweet and loving son.
Fighting back tears, a father is overwhelmed with emotion, almost unable to share the unthinkable that his little boy endured on the way to school. Dax's mom says she noticed strange bumps and bruises on her son months ago, but Littleton Public Schools told her there was nothing to be concerned about. Then her son's injuries became worse, and that's what led to her obtaining this disturbing video of her son's unprovoked assault on March 18th.
How could someone that I trusted, someone that I was so friendly with, do this to my little boy?
It led to the arrest of 29-year-old Kiara Jones and the unsettling discovery the paraprofessional was allegedly abusing other kids like Dax.
This is the greatest fear of my life. And my kid was non-verbal, kinda. He's doing great. Finally he speaks. But the fact that this is happening and they covered it up, especially because it might have been a race thing, I'm like, come on, man. And then you promote all these messages about white people, ba-bam, ba-bam, ba-bam. Crying for the millionth time about how much easier my life would be if I were white. Stop talking like that and labeling everybody. This is disgusting.
Don't get me wrong, ma cosa kita bong. Put the fire na mi blonde, kush hash, purple skunk, criollo, colombici, jam, jam, turloqueta, verdetta, welcome.